Dr. Raman is unable to attend the meet due to his prior travel commitments, and I'll be reading a message that he has sent on his behalf. Dr. Raman says, I remember my early years in the marketing department of an MNC agriculture input company, where after every field trip, we would discuss the colors on the posters, the design of the danglers in the retail shops, and other point of purchases in marketing tools. We have come a long way from then thanks to a spread of smartphones and internet connectivity. Today, with the 600 million of smartphones and 750 million internet users, we have truly digitalized India. While all functions of a business enterprise have been transformed by this, marketing is perhaps one function that has been at the forefront and also spearheaded the transformation. From greater customer insights, with the power of analytics to constantly evolving technology, digital marketing rapidly evolves. Digital marketing has become the core of any sustainable business enterprise. I am delighted that KJ Somaiya Institute of Management has chosen the topic of marketing and digitalization, delivering value in a new age, as the theme for the 18th SIMSR Global Marketing Conference. I congratulate the organizers for the choice of the theme and wish them and the participants very best for impactful deliberations. Best wishes, Dr. Raman Ramchandran, Director of KJ Somaiya Institute of Management.
Now, I would like to mention our regards to the Honorable Vice Chancellor of KJ Somaiya, Professor V.N. Rajshekharan Pillai, an accomplished professor and researcher himself. Among us, we are also grateful to have Dr. Zeitner Andreas, the Vice President of Internal Affairs and Professor of Marketing from the University of Applied Sciences, Upper Austria. We would like, sir, to share a few words of enlightenment.
Good morning. It's so good to see friends again after those terrible years. I'm super happy to be here. I feel this is a wonderful place to not only talk about academic matters, but also to exchange relationships and friendships, which is more important than ever. Yesterday evening, we were out, and when we drove back to our hotel with our driver, something very interesting happened. The driver, he caught a little cold, and he was coughing. 1 year ago, when a person in a car was coughing, every other passenger would have jumped out of the car, protecting themselves and escaping from this terrible whatever. Now, it's normal, we say bless you, and the world is going on. I appreciate that. I love that. With respect to this conference, I would like to congratulate the organizers, because if you see the title, every word of the title and the theme of this conference is important. Every word. We start with delivering, because that's what we have to do when we look at our customers. We are the ones who are delivering, we are serving our customers. That's the understanding of marketing, and that's another term in this title. The next is value. Sometimes we forget. Value means delivering something that means something to the customer, that gives him or her a special feeling better afterwards than before. That's value. And then we have the last term, the new age. And I believe, yes, truly, we are in a new age, also with respect to marketing. Just recently we had a little research on the topic where we tried to find out about the role of marketing in the next decade. And we found that the role of marketing and marketing scholars, but also marketing professionals in the companies will tremendously increase. Why? Because now the marketers are able to connect one-to-one with the customers and to stimulate the customer experience with them. That was in earlier times always a privilege to sales, to those important people in the company who went to the customer and met him or her. Now we can do this from our offices. And marketing, having been a one-to-many activity, now becomes a one-to-one activity. So there are brilliant times ahead of us, marketing people. I'm very eager and curious to listen to the presentations today. I saw the titles of some of them, very inspiring, very interesting and attractive, and I wish this conference a very good day. And all the best. Thank you very much.
Now I would like to call upon Dr. Kiran Sharma, the area chairperson of Marketing and International Business at KGSIM, to give a brief introduction to the conference.
Good morning, everyone, and a very warm welcome to the 18th edition of this SIMSR Global Marketing Conference, very fondly come about to be known in the academia as SGMC. So we've come to be knowing it as SGMC. I'm immensely honored and privileged to welcome all the delegates to this 18th edition of the SIMSR Global Marketing Conference. We are honored to have with us Dr. Rajkumar Venkatesan of Ronald Professor of Business Administration at the Darden School of Business, University of Virginia, delivering the keynote address in a short while from now. I send a hearty welcome to him for gracing the occasion. I also welcome Mr. Rajesh Srivastava, who is an accomplished author in the area of business management. I would like to extend my heartiest thanks to Dr. Rajesh, our Vice Chancellor, Somaiya, who could not be present due to prior commitments, but he has sent his best wishes to the conference. I would also like to put on record the unstinting support during the organization of the conference by Dr. Raman Ramachandran, our director, but he sent us a message which we just heard. I will also like to take this opportunity in welcoming all the delegates to the conference who have traveled to attend this from various B schools in the country, and my most grateful thanks to Dr. Andreas, Vice President International Affairs, Professor of Marketing, University of Applied Sciences, Austria, who has specially kept to his promise of attending the conference with us. The theme of the conference is Marketing and Digitization, delivering value in the new age. And it could not have been a much more apt theme in this when we are returning to normalcy after 2 years of COVID. Digitization and new technologies allows us to make our businesses more value-driven, value chain more shorter, and offer more value thereby in turn to our customers. Today, companies can take everything into their own hands, including distribution, promotion, awareness. Digitization is therefore the use of digital technologies to change a business model and provide new revenue and value producing opportunities. It's the process of moving to a digital business. Digital marketing has made the interactivity with the audience easier and faster, gaining the trust of the audience and publicity to enhance the prospects. The companies enjoy unprecedented growth in their business with global reach marketing, through their digital marketing strategies. We have received an overwhelming response in terms of submission of extended abstracts from academicians, both from India and abroad. A total of 50 plus papers will be presented in the afternoon of February 9, that's today, wherein we are having 6 offline and 4 online tracks, keeping to the demands of the academician who could not travel to this occasion as on today. Today as I stand here, I am reminiscent of the time I came to present a paper at one of the SIMSR Asia Marketing Conference, which was called then. And Mr. Isaac sir was my chair track then. The marketing team today is very proud to say that we've been able to host various stalwarts in marketing and been successful in bringing that to campus. Just to name a few, Dr. Parasuraman, Dr. Venkatesan, Dr. Arvind Rangaswamy, Dr. Jagdish Sheth, Dr. Kevin Keller, Ms. Vinita Bali, and the list goes on. We have indeed come a long way, and I'm proud to say that SGMC has been able to have sufficient recall value in academicians' mind who want to attend this conference year on year, and they take it as a tick that this is something that we've attended. We have had an eventful run wherein the focus has always been to hone the research capabilities of our faculty members, to bring out cutting-edge research in terms of various domains of marketing. The 2 days ahead are action-packed, leading to a day tomorrow of a panel discussion, and we hope that you leave with more answers to your research possibilities, endless indulgence in deliberations, and your never-ending discussions. A very warm welcome once again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for enlightening us about this marquee event. Among us, we also have a very accomplished and recognized personality in the marketing field, Professor Rajkumar Venkatesan. He is an expert in customer relationship management, marketing metrics and analytics, and mobile marketing. He is a driven and published marketing thought leader with comprehensive accomplishments in the field of big data analytics, predictive software, business intelligence, marketing automation, curriculum development, and cross-functional teams to ensure success and achieve goals. He is a well-known innovative thinker and has expertise in over 28 different fields related to marketing and management. Sir, we are privileged to have you among us. As Professor Venkatesan cannot be here personally, he will address the event over a Zoom call. Now I request Professor to address the conference. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, everyone. It's great to be here, even if it is virtual. I congratulate you on the success of this conference, and I wish you a great conference and experience presenting and hearing about your research. I have a set of slides that I have prepared that I'm going to be presenting here. Here we go. I think this worked out. Okay. So, keeping with the theme of this conference, I wanted to present on digital marketing and the new phenomenon of AI in marketing. Because we've all heard of the buzz in the last few weeks about ChatGPT and Microsoft including it in its search, and how machines are going to have a more natural language interface with the consumers, and how they can be really personalized in the service of the consumers. What I want to talk about is how technologies like this, broadly speaking AI in marketing, can be used, and how organizations can build their capabilities around AI in marketing. I want to start with this quote from Fei Fei Li. She is a faculty in computer science and was one of the pioneers in creating Google Images, which was the earliest large-scale image software that was built by Google. And her quote is, "If our era is the next industrial revolution, as many claim, AI is surely one of its driving forces." And we can see her quote come to life, especially in the last few weeks. And before, as I begin this talk, I want to define what AI is. It can be many things to many people. And what I want to, the way I define AI is that it's systems that perform actions that if performed by humans would be considered intelligent. This was a quote that was from John McCarthy way back in 1956. He was also considered the father of artificial intelligence. So it encompasses even simple models perhaps like linear regression to today's generative AI models as well. But the idea here is that the machine is intelligent and it performs functions that humans would be performing. So what does that mean for marketing? One of the companies that has been in the forefront, I want to begin with the story of Starbucks, a company that has been in the forefront of AI in marketing, especially with their app. It is considered one of the most successful apps in the world. And the chart here is their stock market price. Like even during the pandemic, if you see around 2019, they did not dip at all. They went stronger and stronger. And all of that is powered by their customer relationship management, which is driven by their app. Starbucks has over 19 million reward members, and it's growing year over year. And then the CEO at that point, Kevin Johnson, talked about how the app, which drives personalization, is part of a strategy for Starbucks growth, and that the company is ramping its investment in AI. And this is his direct quote, that Deep Brew will increase the power of a personalization engine. What he refers to here with Deep Brew is this collaboration with Microsoft, where they built an AI platform that is powering their app to provide consumers with personalized recommendations, offers, and targeting. So, for example, if somebody is a tea drinker, do not give them promotions for coffee, and vice versa. Could be as simple as that, to if somebody is a coffee drinker, give them, like during the winter time, maybe some pumpkin spice latte or some other offers if there's somebody who tries new flavors, versus somebody who always has the same coffee, like flat white, just give them flat white all the time. So these kind of rules that are built in is part of their app, which is really powerful, and in addition to other things that it does, like payments and mobile ordering. This is an example of how AI and all this new technology gets translated into an app which powers the consumers, consumer relationship, and powers the growth of the company. As a preview, this is an example of like how AI can help brands, and just as a preview of our message here. So there are some examples of successes. What is the market thinking about AI? A survey that was conducted in 2019 asked the question, to what extent is your company implementing AI or machine learning into their marketing toolkit? And in 2019, on a scale of 1 to 7, where 7 was highly likely and 1 was not at all. And in this survey, majority of the companies, the they said that they're not that likely to invest today, but in the next 3 years, which is today, which is 2023 now, they were going to more than double their investment. And this was across different sizes of companies and across different importance of internet sales to the company, and also across different B2B sectors. And so it was widespread. At the same time, advertisers said they are wary of AI and they have no plans of using AI in their marketing efforts. And one of the reasons they quoted for this hesitation to use AI was lack of a clear strategy on how to use AI. They said we don't have a clear path or plan on using AI. So the technology seems interesting, it is robust, it seems to have potential, but we really don't know where to apply it and what to do with it. So that was the goal for us, was to address this challenge, that there is a lot of potential, but marketers are hesitant to use it because they don't know what the strategy is. So that's what we pursued in this research, which was produced in a book called AI Marketing Canvas. And this book is not about coding or statistics or machine learning, but it is a marketing first book where it puts customers in the center and sees how AI can help marketers improve their customer relationships. So it offers a roadmap, a path to develop your AI growth strategy. And this was authored by Jim Lisinski, who was at the Kellogg School in Northwestern University. So our main premise in this book, so in this talk I want to describe what we have in this book, a summary of our main story in this book and the main message in our book. So our premise about marketing is that marketing is about making predictions about consumers so you can deliver the right, best personalized experience. So if you think about marketing, for data-driven marketing, you want to reframe marketing as predicting consumers' preferences so that you can address the consumer's preferences with the best personalized experience. So that's the definition, and how it's operationalized into using AI is through the customer engagement framework. So customer engagement consists of customer acquisition, customer retention, customer growth, and customer advocacy. That's the traditional model that we proposed, in the early 2010s as to what customer engagement really is. Now, where AI comes in is the use of data and algorithms to personalize every aspect of customer engagement, customer growth, and customer advocacy. So how does this all operationalize into, let's say, a coffee shop? So I want to give this example of a coffee shop in my hometown where I live now, Charlottesville, Virginia. And there's this coffee shop called Shenandoah Joe, and run by this gentleman you can see here. He's very gregarious, friendly. You see the picture of the coffee shop up there. He greets the customers by name if he knows them. He might know your drink that you always have. He might talk to you about your children or your vacation. He might give you, he knows you like desserts, and he might say, hey, try this new cookie. So Mr. Joe has been really successful with his customer relationship, and he's opened 3 stores now in a small town, and he's very successful. But he has a challenge. He cannot be in all 3 stores at the same time. However good he is, he can't be in all 3 stores at the same time. And he's having a hard time remembering all the customers who are now walking through the store. He remembered the first 10, 20, 100 customers. And after that, he couldn't. keep up. Now, if he gets really successful, he might become Starbucks with 20 million consumers on his app. The challenge Mr. Joe faces is how do they keep the same personalized customer experience that they had with the first 100 customers with the 20 million customers. And that's where AI and technology comes in, is the ability to at scale personalize your customer experience so that each one of the 20 million consumers feel like they are the first 100 customers in the coffee shop. So AI in marketing are personalized ways in which consumers will engage with brands through acquisition, retention, growth, and advocacy. As a result of advances in AI and machine learning, particularly deep learning. So this is the way we feel AI is going to help marketers. It gives this North Star of saying how AI is going to influence marketing. It's going to influence marketing by personalizing customer engagement using data and algorithms. So we know how AI will affect marketing, but to do this requires a significant shift for companies. It is not going to be easy to shift from traditional marketing strategies to this personalized customer engagement. And we wanted to learn from brands already down this path of implementing AI in marketing. And these were some of the brands we interviewed as part of our research. And so there are big brands in B2B, by example, John Deere, technology companies like Google or Ancestry.com, financial services like Chase, consumer goods like Ulta Beauty, restaurants like McDonald's, and even Unilever and Coca-Cola, some of the biggest consumer brands in the world. And when we interviewed executives in these companies, a remarkably consistent pattern emerged. There were 5 sequential maturity levels that companies go through to develop AI in their marketing strategies. So we mapped those maturity levels into a canvas, just like the business model canvas. And so this can be a toolkit that firms can use to track their capability developments and plan their capabilities. And so on the column are the different aspects of customer engagement: acquisition, retention, growth, and advocacy, and how AI is going to personalize them. The rows represent the stages of maturity, from stage 1 to stage 5. Right? Stage 1 is foundation, stage 2 is experimentation, stage 3 is expansion, 4 is transformation, and 5 is monetization. And at each stage, firms personalize one or more aspects of their customer engagement. So that by stage 4, they've personalized all aspects of their customer engagement, and in stage 5, they leverage their capabilities for new business models and new growth opportunities. So in stage 1, so what I will do next, in my talk next, I'm going to give you examples of each of these, explain each stage and give you a mini case on each of these stages. So the companies represented in each stage, in fact, are exemplars in each of those stages, and they're still developing their AI capabilities and are way beyond their current stage. But the story they went through in each stage was really explaining what that stage was. So that's why we highlight different companies in different stages. So stage 1, before you use AI or machine learning in your marketing, you need the right data. And you need first-party consumer data, implying that you need data directly from the consumers. So you need a direct relationship with consumers. And you need adequate amounts to train the machine learning models so that you can supercharge your customer relationship moments. Of course, one needs to follow all the relevant legal, social, cultural, and ethical standards while doing this. So the example I would like to share about stage 1 is on Unilever. You know, Unilever in India, it's, you know, it has Pond's, Vaseline, Knorr, all these big brands that they make. In Thailand, they had a really interesting experience. And, as we all know, Unilever goes through retailers, so it goes through a third party to sell to consumers. So it really does not have access directly to consumers. So what they did in Thailand was to collaborate with Line, which is a social media platform there, and it's a lot like WhatsApp, where you can have friend groups and also call using Line. And Line uses cyber currency or Line currency. So what Unilever did was give Line currencies to consumers in exchange for their permission to collect data about them. By doing this, they were able to collect at one point about 1/3 of the consumer base in Thailand was on Unilever's database. And it was a really good accomplishment to have, like, for a company that sells to retailers, to have direct-to-consumer data on 1/3 of the Thai population. So how do they use this? So you use this based on this foundation of data. They used it to target consumers when they launched new products. When they launched like 7th generation product, it's a product on diapers and like household cleaning and moisturizers that was in the United States that they launched in Thailand. One of the appeals of 7th generation is it's all natural and it's sustainable. So if the consumer was conscious of climate change, based on that information from their first party data, they could send messages about the natural and sustainable nature of 7th generation. The product was also good, so if the consumer was interested in efficacy, then they would target based on efficacy of the product. But the knowledge of the consumer interest comes to Unilever because of their database and their direct-to-consumer relationship. So Unilever was able to leverage the foundation of their data to create personalized targeted messages when they launched new products. The second stage, based on this foundation, you want to start experimenting. You want to let 1,000 flowers bloom. You want AI-powered tools from third parties. You don't need to develop your own machine learning models yet. But you want to keep an eye on AI, on ROI, and personalize at least one aspect of your customer engagement. So it is really interesting when ChatGPT came about and was creating these messages and essays naturally. A few years back, there was a company called Prasado created messages for Chase. So this was not like targeting, using AI to target consumers, it was using AI to create advertising messages. So that's a really powerful thing, because now you have AI actually writing things, just like now we see the ChatGPT. So Chase experimented with Prasado for customer acquisition on its digital channels using machine learning driven marketing creatives. And the reason they did it was they wanted AI to create a personalized message to the consumers, to create a human connection with the consumers. It's ironic that Chase had to go to machines to create a human connection with the brand. But the pilot saw a 450% improvement in click-through and customer conversions. So based on this experiment and the ROI from this experiment, they then commissioned Prasado to create the whole digital campaign for Chase Retail is now run by AI. Starting from the message that the advertisement needs to carry to who the advertisement targets. So all of that is now done by machines, and it's all personalized. So this is an example of a company starting with a pilot around personalizing acquisition and taking that effort into other aspects of their marketing campaigns as well. Once you've had some success, you see it as something that your company can benefit from. In stage 3, you start personalizing a broader set of marketing activities. And you start personalizing retention in addition to acquisition, or growth plus retention. You start personalizing more than one aspect of your customer engagement. And around this time, you start appointing a marketing champion to lead these AI efforts within your division. And you start to coordinate efforts across marketing, operations, services, technology, and data science. And you think about building in-house capabilities, because at this point, you're moving from just off-the-shelf AI and machine learning algorithms to customizing them in-house. So Coca-Cola is a great example of the expansion stage. So these are smart vending machines. They're smart vending machines because they have IoT enabled. They're all IoT enabled. So Coke knows what drinks are ordered on these vending machines. The interesting part about this vending machine is that you can mix and match different flavors, and it will give you one drink that has a mix of 2 or more flavors. So because it is IoT enabled, on the retention side, Coke is able to better manage stockouts. So when a flavor is running out, it knows because of its IoT when the flavor is running out, and it can send a salesperson to fix the, replenish the flavor. The next stage where they went was to growth, creating new products and expanding the customer relationship. For this, they just, the smart vending machine gave them tremendous data on what consumers were mixing and matching. And what they found, they didn't need heavy machine learning to do this, but the data was really valuable because it was real consumer behavior data rather than survey research data. So what the consumers told Coke as the most popular flavor mix was Sprite Cherry. Just there's no way Coke could have found that this was a combination people liked based on consumer primary survey research. It was based on data that consumers were giving Coke from the smart vending machine. Now, Sprite Cherry was then launched in the retail stores, and it was one of the biggest success stories for Coke. So here's an example of a vending machine which is created for consumer retention and personalizing and enabling personalization of the product for consumers, then giving them information about a new product that grows the consumer relationship. Now, Coke has done more investments beyond the Sprite Cherry into an app where consumers can mix and match on the app before they go to the vending machine or send the order to the vending machine, and also work with and also interact with their friends, which is an example of consumer advocacy, to plan their visit to a store that may have a Coke vending machine. Then the next stage, in stage 4, you're using AI to automate a complete set of marketing activities. So you're customizing all aspects of your customer engagement, right? From acquisition, retention, growth, and advocacy. Around this time, you want to build a strong in-house capability, and you want to be known for this capability. Right? So you're building or buying. You may be at the stage where you're buying an AI company, or you're building and becoming really strong in-house. As an example of buying an AI company, you have the example of John Deere, which acquired the Blue River Group in 2017 for about 300 million. And what Blue River does is a computer vision company, and it allows farmers to spray pesticides on crops in a targeted manner. So the benefits to the farmer is that they use less pesticide, which reduces cost and improves the quality of the crop. Now, based on this acquisition, John Deere established JD Labs, which is an incubator for future AI ideas. So what happened to this? So based on the JD Labs, just in November of last year, in November 2022, John Deere announced a fully autonomous tractor. So no driver, you use an app and manage the whole tractor, and it will go and do all the soil tilling, spraying of pesticides, everything, without the farmer having to be sitting in the tractor. And it all started with this acquisition of the Blue River Group and its computer vision technology. Another example of a build stage for transformation is Disney. Disney developed its own lab called Disney Research, and out of that came a product called Magic Band. So if you go to the Disney World in Orlando, you have this, you can get this Magic Band. You can use this to open your hotel room or buy stuff from the stores in Disney World, or use it to know how long the lines are for the different rides. Through all of this, people like using it because it's extremely convenient, but Disney can collect the data from these bands to completely personalize the staffing decisions as well as ride recommendations for the consumers. So you saw two examples, one of buying an AI company to develop personalized and maybe fully autonomous machines and new products. And now you have a build example of Disney, where it starts from customer acquisition to building a great customer experience and retention, and also making recommendations for other products through customer growth, and building an advocacy also in terms of posting pictures online for their experiences in Disney. Now at this stage 1 through 4, you've seen that companies can develop a big AI marketing capability, and they've personalized all aspects of their customer engagement. What we found really interesting was companies were taking this a step further into stage 5, where they're using their capabilities in AI to drive significant new revenue streams and develop new business models, and they serve external customers as a platform. So this is an example of AI as a service that they're developing. Then that in general digital transformation in other areas you don't see as much, but with AI in marketing you're seeing a lot of AI as a service applications. An example of that is Washington Post. Washington Post is one of the big national newspapers in the United States, and it was acquired by Jeff Bezos a few years back. After that acquisition, Jeff Bezos brought a lot of people from AWS, Amazon Web Services, into the Washington Post. And what they did was start building the technology capabilities of Washington Post. So one example of such a technology that they built was called Heliograph, which writes news stories. Now with ChatGPT, we don't see that as a big achievement, but this was like 3 years, 4 years back. They were writing news stories, machines were writing the news stories. And they did it for standard things like sports results or election votes. It would go through Heliograph and spit out stories. And they did other things like content moderator, where comments were moderated automatically by machines. They did search engine marketing that was fully automated. So they did a lot of these things, and as a result, Washington Post got a lot of subscribers. It caught up with New York Times and subscribers, and its ad revenue was becoming quite high. So they went through stage 1 through stage 4, and after that what they did was they developed a platform called Zeus Technologies. And in Zeus Technologies what they did was give all these technologies that they've developed as an API, so that other newspapers like LA Tribune, LA Times or Chicago Tribune or Houston Chronicle, regional newspapers that were not directly competing with the Washington Post, could also benefit from this technology. And Washington Post created a new revenue stream called Zeus Technologies. Now going back to the Starbucks example, Deep Brew is now a platform that other coffee shops can use to improve the personalization in their apps and also integrate technology with the baristas within the coffee shops. So, and that provides an extra layer of revenue for Starbucks as well. So I want to remind us of this canvas again. So this is a tool that managers can use. It also tracks the different stages brands have gone through in developing AI in their marketing strategy. So the main goal is personalization of customer engagement. That is personalizing acquisition, retention, growth, and advocacy. And you achieve that first by building a foundation of data. And based on this foundation, experimenting with different ideas and seeing where you have success and leveraging that success into stage 3 in expansion, where you are personalizing 1 or 2 or more aspects of your customer engagement. In stage 4, you personalize all aspects of your customer engagement and that you have a clear capability around AI and marketing. And in stage 5, you can leverage this capability to create AI as a service platform to create new growth opportunities. So I want to end my talk with this quote from Rishad Tobacawala in The Great Reinvention, where he mentions that whenever there's a mindset shift as now and new technologies, there are new industries and opportunities. So we should treat AI as a mindset shift in marketing that can create new opportunities as well as new industries in marketing and embrace this new technology. I'm open for questions. Thank you for your time and patience, and thank you for listening to me. I'm on LinkedIn. Feel free to connect with me. And I guess we have a few minutes for questions now. And thank you.
Thank you, sir, for an enlightening, informative, and intellectual speech. Now, we'll open the floor for Q&A session. For the participants who have joined us online, please send your queries to the chat box of the meeting, that is Q&A SGMC. Thank you.
Thank you. It was a very enlightening talk, sir. I have a question. The model of foundation, experimentation, expansion, transformation, and monetization that you talked about is applicable in a B2C kind of segment of the market. How do you see it applying in B2B segment? In the marketing qualified leads and sales qualified leads, I mean, typically that's a kind of distribution that B2B segment typically does. So I would like to understand how would we apply AI to B2B segment?
Yeah, sure. So certainly. So the John Deere example, John Deere primarily sells through other retailers, and it sells to big farmers who are also B2B and run through contracts. So one example is that it creates autonomous products, and so that is one way, and IoT enablement is certainly one aspect. So it can create different new products, and also through IoT enable understanding of consumers' use of the product. So you can create targeted messages to improve customer retention on your B2B platforms. So almost all products that are analog are getting digitized through IoT. And so you can see how consumers use your product and intervene, like Siemens uses it to target messages to other companies, their customers. So basically they use it to see if a part needs replacement. Their biggest challenge is they want to be the person the customer goes to replace the part. So this data enables them to target and give call plans to their salespeople to target the right consumers who is ready for changing a part so that they go to Siemens and not to a third party. This is an example of how you can use AI to personalize sales calls to improve customer retention. And so there are different examples like this. So at each stage with acquisition or customer referrals or retention and growth, you can use information about consumer use of the product to better personalize your sales calls and RFP and customer relationship management efforts.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Thank you very much for this very important step forward in our understanding of how AI could moderate marketing in the future. So connecting to the question of the colleague before, I'm a little bit worried. Can you predict what will happen in B2B with the hundreds of thousands of salespeople? Are they, if these measures are already established, are they only the ones that close the deal or negotiate the price? Because many of those stages that you mentioned are the ones that salespeople were trained for and very proud of.
Yes, that's a good point. Yes, I think you still need the human connection that the sales folks can develop. And there is still, I think there is augmentation of sales intelligence from AI in terms of where consumers are, customers are browsing. So one of the main challenges I think Salesforce and B2B will have to face is that the customer is also changing. A biggest challenge that say B2B faces is the new customer has already researched your product online. And if you are not online and your competitor is online, then you've lost the sale at the consideration stage itself, or maybe even awareness. So it is imperative for sales to work with the digital channels and the technology to better augment their capabilities. But definitely in complex, big contracts, there is a lot that sales folks can bring, especially around convincing of the value of the product and convincing consumers of the price is certainly still a human-driven effort.
Good morning, sir, and thank you so much for your wonderful presentation, very insightful. I just had a question in my mind. How willing are consumers to share their data, the data privacy issues? Because it appears that the machine knows everything about me even before I mean, even approach the service.
Yes.
Would that not create some sort of, I mean, lot of consumers are very sensitive to sharing information.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I think that is the two things there. The first is the sharing of information that the consumers are afraid about are more around third party. That is, the bigger fear is it's tracking me without my knowledge. And that relates to third party data. And that's also in the iPhone now, it says ask the app not to track. That is primarily to stop the third party. And the big privacy regulations are around third party data in Europe and in the US. And third party data is useful but not as useful as first party data for AI models. So the first party data is where you develop a direct relationship with the consumers, and given consent and other things, you do have to abide by those rules. So assuming that companies respect that, as long as you have it's a trade-off between providing value and data that your consumers are willing to share. And if they're willing to, and most regulations around privacy are around consent first, and also are promoting first-party consumer sharing of data rather than third-party sharing of data. The second part on privacy is consumers talk a lot about wanting privacy but don't take enough measures to protect their privacy. So that's the privacy paradox that we are all faced with. And that consumers also have to start taking steps to protect their own privacy. The third is, if you think about all these AI models, they are built on consumer data, but they really don't need the knowledge about what the consumer, they don't need the identity of the consumer. Like ChatGPT, for example, we've seen it all. It is built on a lot of information on the internet, but it really doesn't depend on the identity of the consumer. And same with image recognition. And targeted marketing maybe requires some identity, but you really are looking at preferences, and you're looking at, there are many different ways in which you can anonymize the data and approach this delivery of value without knowing the identity of the consumers. So yes, it is an issue. It is something that is definitely needs to be front and center of companies' strategies, and the good ones do respect consumer privacy. But I believe that the privacy regulations and pushing firms to look at direct-to-consumer data and not sharing consumer data, and that is actually protecting consumer privacy.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So my question is that this personalization of AI, it might replace giants like Google, because Google does not do personalization in marketing respect. So does that possess a threat to marketeers to be extremely creative, or does it create opportunity from your end? Does it expand their because ChatGPT might replace Google at some point. So for marketeers, what looks like the future?
It's a great question. Everyone is trying to figure that one out now. Because when Google came, let's go back to the history, or like when Google came, we felt like media planning is out of business. But media planning is still there. They just shifted the way they plan media. And it created a new industry around search engine optimization and search engine marketing that never existed before Google came. So my belief is that with ChatGPT, and Google has announced today Bard, which will come on their search engine as well. It will create a new industry of folks who will be helping brands figure out how to interface with these ChatGPT or Bard, and how to use it effectively to create better marketing campaigns. And so the challenge would be relearning, and as marketers, that is the challenge we always need to have, because as new technologies come, they always change marketing. Marketers have evolved and changed with new technology, starting from radio to TV to direct mail to internet, email, Google. Now we have, generative AI. I think that evolution will happen. It will help creative folks be more efficient and build scale for their work. At the same time, we might create a new industry on using generative AI better for marketing.
I just have one more curious question to ask you. The companies which are propagating AI, the ruthless way in which they are chucking out employees, what do you think, where is this all leading to? I mean, who is ultimately going to lead society, or, I mean, how are you going to AI? I mean, the guy has no job. The one who disrupted the job also has no job. Now, so where are we going? Where are we leading actually?
Greater value creation.
For whom? Value creation for whom? I mean, it's scary.
It's now
Automation
Yeah.
is scary. Automation is scary.
It's beyond marketing.
something that
This
you
is-
guys are looking at.
Yes, I think there is a lot of correction going on in the tech industry now, but it's beyond my expertise to understand what happens there in terms of employees and societal effects on labor force. We can talk about marketing, but labor force, I don't know. I'll have to take the fifth on that.
May I, sir?
Sure.
Sir, it was an extremely wonderful and interesting presentation. Sir, I wanted to ask, what is the scope of AI in India currently, sir? In terms of, which sectors can make use of it most, in terms of, the stage at which they are currently?
Yeah, so I'll give you one example. I'm actually, there have been conversations in India, and I don't know sectors in specific, but I see the growth in vernacular AI as something that is really big potential. Beyond English, even Hindi, and like beyond Hindi into like regional languages, and the voice and image-based search and those languages, I think there's big potential there. And it does help those other consumers get into the market as well. So.
Yes, sir. But I would just like to put a point forward, saying that when they translate, on any social media, we have translators today. It is extremely useless at times. It just misses the point all the way. So, lot of work needs to be done in that area.
Yes, I think the opportunity is still there. So you also bring up an important point about these models is when they first begin, they're not that good. They're worse than humans. But over time, they get better. And at some point, like now, Google Translate is much better than where it was before. But there are homegrown models that have coming up which are doing this in the vernacular languages as well, which is only going to get better over time, maybe not now.
So, sir, you need a lot of people to rate the translation, and
Yes.
I assume most of the people never do it as consumers. So, which is what is taking long for the model to learn, sir?
Yes, that is one. And also the nuances, right? When we first did NLP, we never thought it would, in the early days, it will understand sarcasm or jokes. Now it is creating ads with jokes.
True, sir. Thank you so much.
Hello, sir, I'm Dr. Abhinav. I have a question. This is a very insightful presentation. And this question is basically for the coming generation, which are toddlers and the children and the teenagers. So the AI has expanded and the way it has grown up. It looks like this generation is going to live in their own bubble, the AI bubble. And everybody is going to be more isolated, and what happens to the world, the cultural aspect as well as the family structure, so everything seems to be disrupted. Means tomorrow we don't know that this family structure as well as the cultural aspect, the community aspect, will that exist, because they are all in the virtual communities and all. So it looks so scary and so dangerous that what's going to happen in the future, and are we really going to connect with them, because they are, everybody is going to be growing in their own bubble, and that bubble might be totally exclusive to that one person. How is it going to manifest?
With any new technology, it's scary and it is exciting. And this one is definitely yes. These are all real issues that at a broader level, we do need to address as a society. And there has to be there will be some reckoning where people, in China there are now regulations on how long people should use social media. And that's a top-down approach that China normally takes. With regards to privacy, like in the US, Apple has started doing, that was the most effective privacy regulation so far, is Apple's one pop-up that said, don't ask me the app to track. And I think there is going to be a revolution. There are going to be places where there will be bottoms-up approach where companies also, see an opportunity in helping people with this, with these issues. Because social media, there are serious issues in terms of how it affects young people, especially. And so government does have to play a role, but at the same time, it has to be consumers as well as companies that take a more broader perspective beyond just profit maximization. And without that, you will destroy the value that these technologies could create.
Yeah, because sir, in my home, the child lock of that OTT, I think it's useless, because they have exposure to everything from all different devices. So that's,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good morning, sir. This is Dr. Mukesh Kara, and my question is how customer engagement is different from co-creation, and what today marketers are doing, how they are using AI for co-creation, customer co-creation.
I would say the co-creation part comes within the growth aspect and the customer advocacy aspects. As a co-creation, you can think of the example of Coke was an example of co-creation. Whereas, because Coke used consumers' inputs, the consumers were mixing these different drinks and creating new products. And that gave Coke an idea of what is a popular combination that would be a hit in the market. And that's an example of like growth. And also, as consumers interact with other consumers, they have ideas on using the products differently. And enabling that will also enable co-creation.
Is that engagement and co-creation can say are they similar, same, or concentric circles?
So co-creation is one aspect of creating growth and advocacy aspects of engagement. So engagement is a consequence, co-creation would be a driver.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable time. We wish you a remarkable vote of gratitude for being here indeed.
Thank you for this considerate and great questions and everyone.
Among all the dignitaries present here, we also have Mr. Rajesh Srivastava, a renowned author and an experienced educator. Mr. Srivastava is a well-known corporate trainer, coach, and mentor to many startups and established companies, including Siemens India, Mercedes-Benz Research Center, and Reliance Industries. He is the author of 2 books. His first book, The New Rules of Business, published by Penguin, has become a national bestseller. His second book, The 10 New Life-Changing Skills, is on its way to become one. In addition, he also has columns and writings published in various publications, including Outlook, The Telegraph, Midday, Business Standard, and The Mint. We are truly honored to have you with us today, sir. I'd like to invite Mr. Srivastava to grace the event by speaking a few words.
Good morning, friends. It's a truly a privilege and an honor. While my presentation is being set up, can I ask a question? How much time do I have? Because if I have time, then it can be interactive. If I don't have time, then I can make the presentation and share my concepts. So how much time do I have? So we won't have an interactive session. We will just go ahead and share my perspective. So friends, a few things I wish to say to you. Marketing, digitization, delivering value in the new age. A few things about me, what gives me the right to stand in front of you. I did my engineering from IIT Kanpur, and while I was studying, I realized I would be a bad engineer, so I decided to do MBA. And then, unfortunately or fortunately, I had the privilege of joining alcoholic beverages brand when I started my career as a product manager. And in product management, my key thing was marketing. And during the course, which is pre-digital era, I created brands. I hope, because it's a academic institute, so I hope you have never entertained yourself with it, but I'm sure you may be familiar with it. So one brand that I would like to say is, you may have heard of McDonald's Signature. So the name McDowell signature was given by me, and using some of the technique that I will share with you. So alcohol is just not about just thinking wild, there is a method to that madness. Second is, even in India, way back before Industry 4.0 came in, we had world-class drinks. So you may have heard of a brand called, so I'll just say 2 or 3 words. I hope you know what the balance of the tagline is. Hoop Jamaica Rum. Do you know what it ends with? Yeah. Now this brand messaging was not meant for you, right? This is certainly not meant for you. But why do you still remember it after 2 or 3 decades since it was released? Because this is what marketing is. What is marketing? We move the needle from thinking to feeling. We want people to think about our brand, and this became a thing. So we, based on this and consumer insight, we make Backpiper into India's largest and the world's largest. Moving on, another non-digital era brand where Professor Isaac's friend used to work, Ambi, in FCD Ulka. We created Captain Cook brand. A salt is a salt is a salt. Whether you use Tata salt or Captain Cook salt, food will not taste tasty. But we created it into a brand so that housewives left their home wanting to buy Captain Cook salt and paying a price premium of 25%. And we launched salt at a price of 14. This is about 20 years back, at a price range of almost 17 rupee 50 paisa per kilo. The Rolls Royce of salt. How we did it is another story, but it was using some of the technique that I will share with you. And then in my last role as president of JK Hallett Curtis, again some of the technique was deodorant category in the year 2002 was 66 crore. Today it is 8,000 crores. It has exploded. It is based on one thing. I was the first person possibly in the country and the world who said, I will not sell deo, I will sell perfume. Today, we have made the elephant dance. And how much money did it take to say no to perfume, yes to deo? Zero. Part of the credit was FCB Ulka. They created part of the communication. Right? It was zero. So what is the entire thing? How did it happen? And then of course I left my corporate career, and rest was known to you. I decided to leave my corporate career and give back to the society what I had learned. So I got into teaching, training, writing, etc. etc. Now, coming back, why I shared this? Why I shared this is a very simple thing. I worked in field digital, which is in industry 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. Now we are in industry 4.0, which is largely called the digital era. But I can assure you, and we can have a debate on that, that whether it was pre-digital or post-digital, in marketing terms, who creates the brand? It's not the machine who creates the brand. Machine and technology is just an enabler. They never create brands. They help you create emotional connect. They help you personalize content, etc., etc., etc. So, what I feel, some of the question, and Professor, you asked the question, what will happen to the jobs? Can I just share with you my perspective? It's a very scary perspective if you look at it. 70% of the jobs which are repetitive are already automated. 70% of the job. The balance 25% of the job which could not be automated, which was decision making, which is what was taught in these schools like yours. Decision making. ChatGPT is taking full control of it. That constitutes 25% of the jobs. 25% of the job which is about decision making, ChatGPT is taking over, which is AI. 95% of the jobs are under threat. So what will happen is the question that you asked. And the answer is very simple. It was always very simple. The answer is, if 95% of the jobs are gone due to automation and AI, decision making, then how will we survive? It's a very simple thing. What about the last 5%, the top 5%? The top 5% jobs will always remain. Since 1900 till today. What are these jobs? These are jobs that require creativity, innovation, critical thinking, problem solving, lifelong learning, humanness, entrepreneurial spirit. These skills were the drivers of jobs of industry since 1900. Henry Ford, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Mukesh Ambani, Ratan Tata, all have these skills that are mentioned here. Using this skill, they created Ford Motor Company, Reliance, Apple and everything. What was the difference between yesterday and today? Yesterday, Steve Jobs, Henry Ford, everybody had these skills. Using the skill of critical thinking, creativity, innovation, they came out with this vision of their company. They came out with a strategy, they came out with a plan. And once they did the thinking, they told rest of us, you just have to not question us, just go and execute. And we did that. But come Industry 4.0, every one of us is the Steve Jobs of our job. We need to think like Steve Jobs, and therefore is the crisis. And to answer your question, madam, nothing will happen to humankind if we have these skills. And these skills are what Henry Ford, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk today possess. And if every one of us possess this skill, whether you're a student, whether you're a researcher, whether you are a faculty, whether you're a corporate guy like me, you will never be out of business, you will always be in demand. Can I take each one of these skills very, very quickly? Let's start here. Let's start here. Look at this graph. What does it tell you? It tells you that for 5,000 years, humankind transported themselves on horses. From 1900, Henry Ford came out with IC engine, and for 70 years thereafter, IC engines ruled the world. Till Elon Musk came towards the end of last century and introduced EV. And before EV could settle down, you already have hydrogen fuel cell cars. In fact, in railways they are already going to use it. So what does this graph tell you? For 5,000 years, everything was static, nothing moved except improvement of horses. Horses became faster, stronger, etc. For 70 years, IC engines become safer, more mileage, etc. But from the end of last century and in the 22 years, EV has not even settled down, hydrogen fuel cell cars have taken. What does it tell you? That the pace of change is maddening, it's almost vertical. And that is the message for you. Why is this happening? It is happening because if you take the horses, the IC engines, they were all in the industrial era, which is called Industry IR1, IR2, IR3. Come Elon Musk, come hydrogen fuel cell cars, we have entered, so to speak, in Industry 4.0. What does Industry 4.0 mean? Industry 4.0 simply means that Industry 4.0 is powered by technology. AI, machine learning, deep learning, I mean, the list is endless. And because Industry 4.0 is powered by technology, what is the consequences for all of us, whether you're a researcher, student, or corporate guy, or whether you're working? It's very simple. When technology collides with any industry, no matter which industry it is, it will disrupt it. Example, take Netflix. Netflix is a tech company. It has collided with Bollywood. And you know what has happened to Bollywood? Lal Singh Chadda. You know what happened to that? People are worried about OTT. They have totally come. So Netflix, a tech company, has collided with entertainment and it has actually disrupted it. Come to something, I mean, it's a part of our life, Amazon. A tech company colliding with the retail industry, a kirana stores, and it has completely disrupted it. The list is endless. I can go to Airbnb, you can take anything. Every single industry that we know today, including education. And technology has already collided with the education industry and it has disrupted it. Right? Online, offline, hybrid, and you have whatnot. We talked about personalization of content, it's all there. So what does it mean for all of us? What is the implication for us? Two implications I've already shared. One is that the jobs that you think is yours is going to disappear. If it is repetitive and monotonous, it's going to be automated. What does the Amazon CEO says? If you are going to create problem, employees will automate your job. Get out. That's what he said. If you're going to create problem, we'll automate you. Right? All jobs almost is going to get automated with chat GPT coming in. So what is the implication for you? The implication for you is, and I'll just restate it for everybody, the researcher, corporate guy, professional. 70% if you do repetitive jobs is going to get automated. 25% jobs which require decision making, thinking, which is what is taught in these schools, is going to be taken over by AI. Chat GPT is just a very, very small example. I can tell you much, much more. So these 95% jobs are gone. So how will you be a good researcher? How will you create great brands? How will you be the world's great professional, marketing professional? The answer is very, very simple, according to me. You need to have these 10 skills. So you will say, hey, listen, who are you to tell us? It's not me, my friends. World Economic Forum. World Economic Forum for the last 15 years has been saying this to the rest of the world. We are entering Industry 4.0. Are you guys prepared? And then they are saying if you are not prepared, and it is very likely that you are not prepared, what is the answer? The answer is you are not prepared because Industry 4.0 is not entirely formed. If it is not entirely formed, then jobs are not entirely formed. Then how will you prepare for a job that is not entirely formed? You would be in a crisis situation. And if the answer is yes, that yes, we are in Industry 4.0 that is not entirely formed and therefore jobs are not entirely formed, what should you do? And the answer World Economic Forum says is this. It says a very simple thing. Hard skills apart, there are a list of soft skills that is mandatory. If you possess these 10 skills, then no matter what shape Industry 4.0 takes, you will be well prepared to make a career in it. And these 10 skills by and large are this: creativity, innovation, critical thinking, framing the right questions, smart problem solving, lifelong learning. Can you remove this part? Storytelling, influence without authority, uniqueness and entrepreneurial spirit. Okay, not to worry, not to worry, not to worry, not to worry. Just put full screen, don't worry.
Just drag it up.
Just put this screen. Video.
Drag it down. Just drag it up. Drag it up. Put the PPT on. Laptop and then should I go? This is Addressee, right? Oh, Bajaj actually works here. Stop this. Sir, sir, this is...
I'm saying there are 6 people to solve one problem, so there's no problem.
There is job. This is disguised unemployment.
The beauty of technology.
It creates jobs, right?
Yes.
बंद करो, open करो. The laptop is, I think, he will take restart, reboot it.
Yes, yes.
Cursor is not working, sir.
So, sorry, let's come back. Come back to this. These are the 10 skills that World Economic Forum has said. Is World Economic Forum the only organization of repute which has said this? McKinsey and Company is another organization that has said. What has it said about Industry 4.0? It's said a very simple thing. New jobs will be created, some jobs will die, but every job will change. New jobs will be born, some jobs will die, but every job will change. And if this be the scenario, then how can you prepare yourself? These are some of the skills that you need to have. Let's take a look at some of these skills. That's okay. It's okay. These skills are literally like the seat belt that you put on. Let's take each one of them, and because I can't do an interactive session, so I'll just share the answers because I would have wanted you to actually apply yourself. So let's do one small thing. Right? Everyone has a smartphone. Where did the idea of smartphone come from? Where did the idea, yes sir?
First they tried to create iPads like a bigger screen, and when they tried to put everything together, they thought they could put it into a small phone.
Not probably correct. Anyone? Where did the idea of smartphone come from? May I share that with you? This is what is called creativity. Before smartphone came, there was already Nokia there. Nokia was used for communication, mobile communication. Concurrently, we also had laptop. Laptop gave us what? Access to internet. What did Steve Jobs do? He combined two dissimilar ideas, which is communication on the move and internet in your hand, and made it into a smartphone. This is essentially what is called creativity. Combining two dissimilar ideas which have little in common in a new, useful and elegant way. Right? Now, what is critical thinking? What is creativity? Creativity is a learned skill which is actualized, which is activated when traditional thinking is bypassed and imagination is allowed to wander freely. Imagination a computer can't have, we can have. Right? To connect dissimilar ideas into new and useful manner. You can do this in research. Are you connecting two dissimilar ideas? So, for example, McDowell's signature. Where did this name come from? It came to me. I was supposed to come out with a brand name. I was flipping through a magazine. It was a Hindi magazine, and I saw an advertisement for a bindi. It said signature bindi. I looked at it and I said, signature bindi does not sound right. One is so traditional, one is so modern. Signature bindi. But McDowell's signature sounds a super name. That is connecting two dissimilar ideas, which is a women's product bindi and a lifestyle product men, to come out with it. And today, let me tell you, signature is an aspirational brand, and the brand value of that must be worth thousands of crores. It's an example of creativity. Stay with iPhone and stay with iPhone 14. It's an innovative product. The question that you have to ask yourself is, what is innovation? There are 14 types of innovation. So I'm just going to share with you one example of innovation. Apple has done many of them. There are 14 types of innovation followed across the country. So I'm just going to share one of them. You look at iPhone 14. iPhone 14 is just one of them, but let's see what is the innovation of smartphone. The first question, we got this idea, but what was the innovation? Innovation is, one of them is called transformational innovation. What is transformational innovation? Let me explain to you. Let's assume these are the two curves. Take the first curve, which is cell phone. Remove cell phone, let's assume horses. For 5,000 years, humans transported themselves with horses. So that curve, horses became stronger, better, etc., etc. But Henry Ford could not improve the horses to become cars. So he jumped the curve, left horses behind, and he jumped the curve to start an IC engine car. And then car went on. Same case, what did Steve Jobs do? What is called radical, right? What is called transformation or radical innovation? Nokia could not be improved so that it becomes a smartphone. So he left Nokia. He jumped the curve. He left Nokia behind, and he started a new curve, which is smartphone. On smartphone curve, everyone is trying to improve, whether it is Samsung, OnePlus, etc. Now, in your research, in your corporate thing, have you jumped the curve, or are you following the herd? You will ask me, have you ever jumped the curve? Yes, of course, many, many times. Let me give you one example, deodorant, which I shared with you. Before me, everyone was selling deodorant, making deodorant better, etc., etc. I said, based on consumer insight analysis, deo will not work in India because the market size was stuck at 66 crore. I jumped the curve and I said, go to deo, just to perfume. Today, every single brand is perfume, perfume, perfume. Coming to research, coming to corporate. Are you following the existing rules of the business, or are you jumping the curve and being transformational? If you want the world to follow you, please follow transformation innovation. It is just one of the 16 types of innovation that you should know. Third, let's come to the man of the moment. So what is innovation? Innovation is creativity into execution into profit. Many people have creative ideas, but if they can't execute it to make profit, it's of no use. So you will say innovation is always about profit. Business innovation is burdened with that responsibility. Social innovation is not. So when you have a creative idea and you work in corporate, if you can't execute it to make profit, it is of no value. Don't do it. Xerox is a great example. Xerox only had creative ideas, but Steve Jobs took those creative ideas, executed it to make profit. That is why Apple is never called a creative company, it's called an innovative company. Now you decide whether you just want to be an ideas person or you want to convert those ideas into, execute them into world-class profitable products. Third thing, let's come to the man of the moment. Elon Musk. What sets him apart? Let's not say buying Twitter does. What sets him apart, and there is no, there's absence of time, what sets him apart is a very simple thing, and I just come to Tesla. What did he do? He challenged the tradition. Before Elon Musk, many people did it, but he was the guy who challenged transportation on scale. Before him, what was the assumption? If cars move, they will pollute. He challenged that tradition and assumption and the norm, which said if cars move, they will pollute. He said no, cars will move and they will not pollute. And he offered the world something called clean transportation. And he made Tesla into the world's most valuable company. What is this trait called? This trait is largely called critical thinking. What is critical thinking? Challenging the existing prevailing tradition, assumptions and norms. You will ask me, have you challenged it? Of course, not in one in every single industry I have worked. Take alcoholic beverages industry. In alcoholic beverages industry, right across the world, alcohol brands are sold as lifestyle products. I was the first person in this country, possibly the world, who said, I will not sell alcohol as a lifestyle product, I will sell it as a solution to people's problems. What problem do people have with alcohol? They have a great evening, the problem is with the next morning. So I launched a brand which said, good morning after great evening. It sold 500 million cases. Coming to you, coming to education. I challenged in education, I did. In the year 2008, when I was invited to teach at IIM Indore, I was the first person who said, I will not teach, I will tell business stories. And I taught business stories, still my students fell in love with me. The question that I want to ask you as professionals and researchers, are you challenging the tradition, assumptions and norms? If not, then AI will take over your job. Next, look at this man. He revitalized Microsoft. Can I give you a concept? So here's a small role play. Assume the COVID is just beginning. The year is 2019. You are Satya Nadella. The business press is coming to you and asking you a simple question. Mr. Nadella, COVID is upon us. People are losing jobs. Companies are cutting back on capex. What is your point of view? What do you think? If you were Satya Nadella, what would be your answer to the world press? Mr. Nadella, people are losing jobs. COVID is just starting, and there's a pullback in capex, capital investment. What do you think? If you were Satya Nadella, what would you say? He said, I am not interested in people losing jobs or cutback in investment. I am more interested in noticing that millions and millions of people are going to work from home, and how do I capture this opportunity onto my balance sheet? Microsoft Teams. What is the big idea here? What did Satya Nadella do? He did not allow the white noise. He did not allow the white noise to disturb or distract him. Instead, he framed the right question. I'm not interested in people losing job or the capex pullback. I am more interested in, I'm noticing millions and millions of people are going to work from home. How do I capture that opportunity onto my balance sheet? What did he do? He framed the right question. You will say Satya Nadella is one of. What did Einstein say, Professor Albert Einstein? He said, if I had to solve a problem on which my life depended and I had 1 hour to solve it, I would spend 55 minutes in framing the right question, because if I frame the right question, the answer would be obvious. As researcher, how much time do you spend in framing the right question, or given the problem you jump to solving it? So one of the traits that you got to know is how to frame the right question. Let me ask you this question. Young people, what do you think, to what would you owe the success of Netflix? Madam talked about OTT. Netflix is the torch bearer of OTT. Why do you think Netflix has succeeded?
Non-appointment viewing of beyond entertainment.
Yes. So can I just put a few more words, Professor Isaac, to what you said? And this is a concept that I'm introducing. I hope it's an original concept because I thought of this. It's called value migration. What is value migration? Before Netflix came, in people of my generation, if I wanted to see Pathan the film, right, even though that's even true, suppose I wanted to see cricket match, I had to go and sit in front of the television at, let's say, 10 o'clock when the match started. By appointment, I had to sit in front of the TV and I could not move. If I move, then I wouldn't see the match. So it was called viewing by appointment, and I was chained to a chair. What do young people say? Young people, Professor Isaac, as you said, I want to be entertained, but anytime, anywhere, on a choice of my device, and even while on the move. So the value has migrated from viewing by appointment, chained to a chair, to viewing anytime, anywhere, on a device of my choice, even on the move. So what has Netflix done? It has moved to where the value has migrated, and therefore it is succeeding. Bollywood still hasn't. So what is this entire thing called? It's called smart problem solving. The world is littered with problems. You can solve it efficiently, effectively, or non-efficiently, non-effectively. Whenever faced with a problem, do you just have a solution, or do you have a framework to solve the problem so that other people can look at your framework and solve the problem? Every single problem that you solve deserves to have a framework. If you don't, you haven't understood the problem, or if you got a solution, it is by luck. So smart problem solving is yet another skill that you require. Then comes, you may have heard of this, many of you may not, so let me tell this story. Lucy Modi is a legendary executive of Tata Steel, now called Tata Steel, he used to have town hall meetings and he asked his workers, what problem do you have? So the workers said, sir, we have toilets, one for the staff and one officers and one for us. The officer's toilet is always clean but ours is always dirty. So Mr. Modi looked at his team who were responsible and said, okay, how long will you take to make the workers' quality of toilet equal to officers? Yeah, and they said, sir, it will take, you know what happens? 1 week, 10 days, can't say, will try. So he called a carpenter and said, just change the boards. As soon as the boards were changed, I think within a few days, both qualities became the same. Now, what is the lesson for us? What did I learn from this? This is called learning through observation. So we have to be lifelong learners. And where do we get lifelong learning lessons from? When we read about how other people solve problems, then we get an idea of how to be lifelong learners. Now, in 21st century, technology comes with an expiry date. So if you are familiar with machine learning, AI, I can assure you in the next 5 years there will be new terms. For example, 3 years back at a conference where I was a speaker, we talked of edge computing, quantum computing. No one had heard of it. This is just about 4 years back. And today, this is what mainstream, and what was mainstream then is obsolete. So what do you have to do, friends, researchers, faculty? If you want to be cutting edge, then you got to be a lifelong learner. I think one of the terms used here was learn, unlearn and relearn. And there are various techniques that you have to adopt to be a lifelong learner. If you don't, you will be left behind. Right? And let me just give you this example. I wrote a book called The New Rules of Business. I requested Mr. Adi Godrej to give an advance praise. He was busy, he says, I won't be able to. So when the book was published, I went to present him a copy. Being the gentleman he is, he said, why don't you have tea with me? I sat down and I asked him a simple question. Sir, is there any life lesson that you would like to share with people like us? He thought for a moment and he said, never stop learning. He was then 78. If he can learn at 78, then what about all of us? To be a lifelong learner, there are various techniques. Now, I'm going to tell you the same concept in 2 ways. Here's the alsatian and here's the master. So here's the A concept. The master died and his Alsatian, his pet Alsatian died shortly thereafter. The master died and the pet Alsatian died shortly thereafter. Option A. Option B. The master died and his pet Alsatian died heartbroken. The master died and his pet Alsatian died heartbroken. Which one did you like? A or B? Why did you like B? Emotional. There is a story around it. It is a story around it. So, communication is passé. You have to be a storyteller. Now, can I, right? You heard of this story. Now, if you are a researcher, at cutting edge, then do you think storytelling is it? What after? Which is called the second bounce. What do you think is the second bounce after storytelling? What? Have you applied your mind? Can I share with you what is after storytelling? May I? So let me just enact a small thing to get you to know what the next storytelling is. I used to work for an alcoholic beverages company. The name is not important, but we launched alcoholic beverage in a PET pack. This is the background. We launched it in PET pack. We developed it. The day came when we had to introduce it to the salespeople. Now, how do you introduce it to the salespeople so that they remember it? It goes and touches their heart and they don't forget it and they are excited about it. One is to say, we used to sell alcohol in glass bottles, now this is PET bottle, plastic bottle, go sell. We are appealing to their mind, it will be forgotten. If you tell a story, it will touch their heart. But what was done, I want to narrate to you and then I will tell you what the next stage of storytelling is, which is what faculty should do. Now here was the president of this alcoholic beverages company sitting. Next to him was all the his alcoholic, the best-selling alcoholic brands of the country was. So I'm going to do a small demo. Madam, I hope you don't mind. It won't hurt anyone, it won't, but I'll just do it. The sales team was called, and everybody was aware that some big announcement was coming, but no one knew what. 9 o'clock was the meeting, and the president was very, very punctual about timing. If you came at 9:01, you would be partly dealt with, maybe asked to leave the room. Everybody was setting the sales team. The president walked in 3 minutes to 9, and the meeting started at 9. A senior person, he was having breakfast in the hotel. Unfortunately, he was late. He was a habitual latecomer. He realized the problem of entering after the meeting has started, so he slowly opened the door from the end, and he was walking in, wanting to be invisible. Unfortunately for him, the president, who was a 6 feet 4 inches person, saw him, and he looked at him and he howled. I'll just take his name as Rakesh. Rakesh, you are again late. And then he picked up this bottle and he threw it at him. He threw it at him with full aim, right there. That person ducked to avoid it. Everybody in that hall knew that the glass will go into millions of things. He will get hurt. Everybody will have alcohol. Luckily for him, he ducked. The missile missed him. And then the president said, you are late and you are not also picking up the bottle. Pick it up and bring it. So this person picked up the bottle and brought it. Everybody was amazed. It did not break. And then the president said, you know what? This bottle is created for latecomers like you to hit you with. This is plastic bottle. It will not break. So when you travel, carry this. It will not break. This is how the PET bottle was introduced. What did we do? It was not storytelling, it was drama. So the next thing that you have to do in classroom is enact drama. So one person said about engagement or involvement. When you tell a story, people are passively involved. When you enact a drama, people are actively immersed in that drama and you make everybody into an actor. That's the next step. Right? So after storytelling, and you always got to call, in technical terms, called the next bounce. After iPhone what?
Sir, in advertising it is called vivid demonstration.
Demonstration.
Vivid demonstration.
Vivid demonstration.
Because it goes into your deep memory.
Deep memory.
Never.
You will never forget it. And just to say this, one person said, the second bounce, after iPhone what? Those second bounces, if you can predict and reimagine, that's when you will be the next Google or the next Apple. Right? So this is called business storytelling. Storytelling is the best way to put ideas into the world. So don't communicate, do storytelling. And if you want to go into deep memory so that you never ever forget it, like your first love, go in for drama. Then comes the next one. Take me, I'll just share with you. I have been with you before I spoke for about half an hour. You did not know me, you did not know who I was. But during this half an hour, I may have won a little bit of your admiration or respect. Now what techniques? So I have no influence over you. You don't work for me, I'm not a researcher, I'm nothing. So how do you influence people over whom you have no authority? Faculty, you have no authority over students, how do you influence them? Corporate guys, you have no authority over your bosses, how do you influence them? Corporate guys, you have no influence over your customers, how do you influence them? So there are techniques now in 21st century which is called how to influence people over whom you have no authority. So there are 12-13 techniques, and we are sharing one. A technique that I have applied here. What is the technique that I applied here? The technique that I applied here was very simple. You see this is not mine, this is from Harvard Business Review. I'm sorry about that black band. It says competency. So on x-axis is competency. So what did I do? When I said I'm from IIT, I'm from IIM, gave the name signature or backpacker or deodorant, I tried to establish my competency in front of your eyes. You may be tempted to believe that this guy is high on competency. Come the y-axis, warmth. The way I speak, the way I conduct myself, my choice of word, you may be tempted to believe this guy is a warm guy, nice guy. Now, if I'm high on competency and high on warmth, then you are likely to admire me. And if, let's say, I take a session or I engage with you for a longer period of time, then that admiration turns to respect and respect turns to trust. The moment you trust me, then I'll be able to influence you. So to win people's trust is one of the skills which can help you influence people over whom you have no authority. I'm just sharing one technique. There are 14 such techniques that you can use to influence people over whom you have no authority. Right? And it is one of the 21st century's most important skills. You have no control over your customer, but how do you influence them? You have no control over our children. I'm saying my son is a stand-up comment. I have no control over him, but I still need to influence them. Students, I have no control over them, but I still need to influence them so that I can share my thoughts. This is a very important technique that you need to know, not to manipulate. Then comes learning through observation and humanness. So let me just share a story. It's a real story. The gentleman here is J.R.D. Tata, a legend, we all respect. He was the chairman of Taj Hotels. One day it was noticed that 2 paintings were missing, they were stolen. His investigation done identified 2 people who had stolen the painting. A report was done and it was presented to the chairman of Indian Hotels, which is Taj Hotel, to J.R.D. Tata. J.R.D. Tata studied the report very minutely and said, yes, these people have stolen as per this report, sack them. And then in the same thing, he turned and looked at his HR person and said, I want you to go and find out if there are school or college going children of these 2 gentlemen. If they are school going and college going, then Taj Hotel will bear the entire expense of education. Because why should children pay for the follies of their parents? What was he doing? He showed that he led Tata with his mind and he ran the company with his heart. That is called humaneness. One of the things that you asked is what happened to the job, which is called humaneness. Humaneness is a very important trait. Computers can never be humane. They can never have compassion and empathy. They can never be motivated and inspired. They can never have those kinds of inspirational thinking. That is humaneness. There are various ways in any one of us. I just gave you one example how J.R.D. Tata was humane. And if we acquire this trait of humaneness, which is insaniyat, computers are unlikely to replace us. And lastly comes the skill, which is called entrepreneurial skill. Now, this is not my definition. This is late Professor C.K. Prahlad. He was on the board of Unilever, that time it was called Hindustan Lever Limited, and one of the gentlemen who's now one of the highest position in London. He was an upcoming person in Hindustan Lever. So when C.K. Prahlad was the director, independent director, after the board meeting, he would go and meet such high flyers. So he met one such high flyer who is now a very big man sitting in Unilever London office. That time he was relatively young. And he asked him, why are you looking worried? He says, sir, I work every day, but nothing happens. And there are people who just don't do anything. I'm frustrated. I work like a professional, right? And I'm frustrated. He says, what is the definition of professional? How do you define? He gave some definition, you should come on time, you should do work. Professor C.K. Prahlad said, okay, fine. And on the board, which was in this gentleman's note, he wrote this word A and R. He did not write aspirational resource, I've written for you. He says, do you know what A and R stand for? The gentleman said, no, I don't. He says, A stands for aspiration, R stands for resource. And let me tell you this. If you are a professional manager, then magically your aspiration will match the resource. So if Unilever has an annual budget of say 100 crores, your business plan will be equal to or less than 100 crores. If you are a professional, it magically meets the resource available. But if you are a person with an entrepreneurial spirit, then in your pocket you will have no money, but your aspiration will be to reach the star. What is the lesson? The lesson is, Entrepreneurial spirit does not mean that you have to start a company or own a company. It is a mindset. You remember what was said about AI? AI's mindset is how you think. In 21st century, every single organization, be it college, be it a corporate, be it a researcher, you've got to have an entrepreneurial spirit and work with a sense of ownership. This is my company, this is my research, and I'm going to change the world, and I'm going to hope, I'm going to aim to be the best guy and reimagine the world or leave the world in a better place. Right? So entrepreneurial spirit, there are various techniques that you can apply. I have just given you a flavor because of constraint of time, but these are the 10 skills that you need to have to thrive and succeed. If you don't have this 10 skill, then it will be like using a rotary phone in an era of smartphone. You will communicate, but it will be inefficient. You will be like a bird without wings. You will live, but you won't be able to fly. If you want to do marketing, and marketing is business, business is marketing. In digitization, which is industry 4.0, industry 4.0 is also called the new age. So if you want to do marketing, which is business, in industry 4.0, you create values, hard skills apart. If you don't have these skills, then you will be like a bird without wings. Get these 10 skills, and if you have these 10 skills, then AI is unlikely to replace you, right? They are like your life-saving skills. Now, with this, I want to wish this seminar and this conference the very best. I don't want to pitch my book, it's not important, but in case you want to get more information, this is a book that I have written. It's called the 10 New Life-Changing Skills. It is being on Mumbai bookstore, Mumbai airport, at Keynote, the bestseller list since launch. Bangalore, everywhere, at all the airports is there. I'm not pitching the book, but I feel if you don't read this book, you will be at a disadvantage. So you will ask me, why did you write the book? The answer is very simple. I gave up my corporate job to share with the world. A guy like me with my height, my voice, who's totally ineffective, I don't have muscle, nothing. But if I could create the brands that has changed the country, then why can't you? More so in industry 4.0, when there is AI, which I did not face, where there is automation, where I did not. Professor, I said you will remember, right? We come from a similar era. Now you are faced.
We also worked in the same industry. Yes. I was with Diageo also sometime.
Oh, yeah.
Smirnoff and Diageo.
Yeah. So this is a book that will help you come to the next level. Now before I end, I just want to share 3 things with you, which I have written down based on the thing. Now, what do you need to do if you want to thrive in industry 4.0? You need to be educated, not academically qualified. What is education? You need to always think. Whatever you see, you need to challenge it, not to prove it wrong. So for instance, I read Knowledge Alone Liberates. It's a beautiful tagline. But can you build on it? Can anyone build on it? Can I just share what I thought of? When I looked at Knowledge Alone Liberates, I took this word knowledge and I looked at how can we analyze it and what's the thing. This one last. I said data, information, knowledge and wisdom. After knowledge is what? History, wisdom. Right? You can look at the thing that was spoken about, experience the Coke, vending machine, or let's say Disney. Disney is using technology not just to create personalized things, but it is actually to deeply engage customers. You know how? Because of this magic band, let's say there are 2 children who are walking and there is Mickey Mouse here. Near field communication will whisper into the ears of Mickey Mouse. Let's say in US, Anna is here. Mickey Mouse will then scream from there, Anna, Anna, are you here? Are you here? Anna will run to Mickey Mouse. When Anna runs, who will run after Anna? The mother. Who will run after the mother? The father. And when Anna and the mother is there, who will take the picture? The dad. And that is put up on social media. So my entire perspective is this, that whenever you hear something, try and build on whatever you have heard, then only will you become a world-class professional. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for the insightful thoughts and inspirational words. I'm sure your words have created a lasting impact on everyone here. Since we are on a time crunch, we will not have a Q&A session. However, you can write or communicate with Mr. Srivastava on his email ID.
I invite all the dignitaries on the stage to begin with the release of conference proceedings, please.